1st of April 2024, and we've just arrived at the 1770 boat ramp, ready to put the boat in the water. Got new motors on, ran them in last weekend, and we're heading across to Lady Musgrave for about a week. Quite surprisingly, there are almost no cars in the car park, and the forecast is looking really good for the next 4 days.
Here we are, loading the boat into the water. There goes the Muppet getting into his car. Here we go. About to start the journey. Calm waters at the moment, but we're in the harbour. Oops. Nearly got run over by a boat, that's okay. Boats everywhere at the moment, coming in and out. That's the boat in the middle that nearly ran over me. I might head over to that pontoons, take some shots from over there. Little tinny there. Oh, they're taking off. That's going to give us plenty of room on the ramp. Beautiful. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Here we go. He's in the water now. Coming over. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Head over to the pontoon. Might flick off the video now. I think we're done. Beautiful.
How you going, John? Lady Musgrave Island, 1st of April 2024. Had a bit of a sloppy trip out. It was a good 10 to 15 knots of southeasterly chop. It actually took us 2 hours 40 minutes to get here, which isn't normal. It's usually about a 2-hour trip. But we're here in paradise, and we're here for a week. We're going to do a bit of fishing, a bit of diving, a bit of spearfishing, heaps of snorkeling, and just make the most of it. So we left 1770 at 10 to 1. So it was a 1 PM high tide. Left home this morning at 5 AM with the plan of crossing the bar right on high tide when there was plenty of water. And then we came across. Took us 2 hours 40 minutes to get across here, but we're here, and the wind is forecast to drop out to about 5 to 10 knots for the next 4 days. So we'll make the most of that. It was worth a pretty ordinary trip across, so that we wake up here. Just replaced the Yamahas with Suzuki's. So I took the boat last weekend out for a weekend, just an overnighter, just to get the first 4 hours out of the way. First quarter hour was idle speed. Next hour and 3/4 was up to 3000 RPM, and then the final hour was up to 4000 RPM. So another, when I get up to 10 hours, the motors are pretty much running, but from 4 hours to 10 hours, you can run at whatever speed you like, so long as you don't sit on wide open throttle, which I don't do anyway. So really happy with the engines. There's no cables, they're drive-by-wire. We averaged 1.2 litres to the kilometre coming out here, which is understandable because we got a lot of gear in the boat. All the water tanks are full, both fuel tanks are full, and there's a lot of weight on board. Esky's full of ice because whatever fish we catch we got to keep for 4 days. So we just filled it up with chockers full of ice. So we got lots of kilos of gear in here. The front up here is got a fair bit of gear in there, a couple of spear guns and wetsuits and stuff. Alright, we've just cleared the back deck. We're going to go for a bit of a fish offshore, leaving Lady Musgrave Island, and go and try our luck. Well, first fish, red throat emperor, unfortunately too small. Looks like he caught some bait.
He's so tiny.
That's a shame he's undersized. Undersized coronation trout. Beautiful eating.
Bye-bye.
Baby cobia or black kingfish. Shame it's not a bit bigger. Probably the smallest one I've ever seen. So yeah, this is the problem when you get good fish and you don't get luck with a few big sharks. Got 80-pound line on with 100-pound leader.
Right.
So I can't break it off. This is a very big shark.
How much line do you reckon he has out?
70 metres, 60 metres deep.
Yeah. He's just sitting there, isn't he?
We're fishing some really nice shows. And we're getting lots of bites from little pickers.
Yeah.
But not doing too well. 45% of your Venus dust fish. From about 70 metres of water. He's not taking. Well, we seem to be getting Tassa, and John just got an undersized red emperor. So we're in the right country, just not getting any quality. Alright, another Venus dustfish. What's he, about 38?
Yeah. Yeah, sharks have turned up. Just doing a little video. There's a shark there, a little tiny white tip shark too. Might not be able to see him in the camera. I think so, I think I saw a white tip.
Oh, it is.
You can't really see him through the... You might be able to make him out. Yeah, here comes his brother or his sister. We're after those frames. Yeah, there's other little fish bobbing around as well. Geez, they come up quickly out of nowhere, don't they?
Yeah.
They're just everywhere around here. That didn't take much. Like, you'd have to be close to know that it was there. Yeah.
We've just been trolling the shallow reefs, and we got a strike with no hookup, and now we do have a hookup.
It's Trevally.
Nice Trevally. So I'm just filleting up a couple of the hussar and parrot for dinner. Nice fresh fish on the reef. Nothing better. Fresh fish for dinner.
The next morning we snorkeled into Lady Musgrave Island to go for a look around. Our plan was to walk around the island and see if we could find the baby turtle tracks from where they leave the nest and make their dash down to the water. We took one of the tracks down through the middle of the island out through to the campgrounds. This is footage of the adult turtles coming up to lay their eggs back in January of this year when I did a trip with another mate. Turns out we were in luck this trip too, with baby turtle tracks everywhere. We decided we'd come back tonight, see if we could see the little turtles making their dash down to the water in the cover of darkness. We struck gold with the conditions. These are the conditions you hope for, and when you get conditions like this, you remember the trip for a long time.
Back of the boat, Bolt Reef, trying to find a dive spot.
We were trying to find a spot I marked in my last boat, but unfortunately I've lost the marks. So John towed me behind the boat while I searched. We didn't manage to find the spot, so the next trip we'll continue the search. I've seen these things before. When I first came across it, it looked to me like a snake had shedded its skin. But when I got up to its head, I could see that it was well and truly alive. It just looks like such an alien creature. This would be close to the biggest stingray I've ever seen. Unfortunately there's nothing beside it to give it any scale, but it was much bigger than the bonnet on my car. This is one of the things I love about diving Central Queensland. No wetsuit, just a t-shirt to protect me from the sun. This is back in Lady Musgrave Lagoon after we got back from our dive out at Bolt Reef. We started our snorkel back into the island to see if we could spot the baby turtles making their dash for freedom. There's never any shortage of these guys inside the lagoon. This little guy came up to say hello to me while I was snorkeling in. Unfortunately, after about an hour and a half, we hadn't seen any turtles, so we headed back out to the boat.
So today's Thursday, 4th of April. We arrived out here at Lady Musgrave Island on April the 1st, Monday afternoon. Forecast was about 10 to 15, but we had probably closer to 15 to 20 on the way out. And then we had a beautiful Tuesday at 10 knots. And then yesterday was a perfect day as well, 5 to 10 knots. Then today's back up to sort of 15 to 20. So we've just come up to have a look at some of the other reefs inside Lady Musgrave Lagoon. This is on the eastern side. Can have a snorkel here. No doubt this place gets hammered a bit less than the places much closer to the island. So we're hoping that we might see a bit more in the way of fish life and that sort of stuff. And it's something good to do just on a windy day where we're probably confined to the lagoon. We don't really want to go out there and get bashed around everywhere. Dive yesterday was really good. We went up to Bolt Reef. That's about a 20 kilometre run. Took us half an hour. We were doing about 23 knots on the way up there and back. I'm really happy with the motors. So we're doing about 1 litre to the kilometre average. I was regularly seeing 0.8 and 0.9 around the 20 knot mark, but once I got up to 23 knots It was 1 litre per kilometre. So we're going to jump in the water,
Can you get me in the,
have a bit of a snorkel around,
can you get me in the photo, in the film?
and see how we go.
Yep, here we are, Lady Musgrave. Where else would you rather be? About to go on a little tiny surfing, a snorkeling safari. A couple of coral trout would be nice. That could be dinner. Let's see how we go. We'll get started very soon. Probably spend about maybe an hour or so in the water. You can always come back here for a nice little lunch as well. Spend a few more hours here. So much to explore. Where else would you rather be? That's it from me. Signing off, Jono. The end. You can turn it off now. You can turn it off now. Fuckwit.
This is the blooper reel.
You got to talk while you're doing it too.
You can.
I'm filling a parrotfish. We wish we were filleting coral trout, but not the case. We did see plenty of them before, right on the marker. We're going to mark it tonight, CT, but no luck. We just couldn't nail a coral trout to bring into the boat. But by this afternoon, they were there on the reef. They were there, don't you worry. Just couldn't nail one. Bloody coral trout. Anyway, got parrot tonight for dinner with a cold stubby. Can't complain. Been a friggin' top day. We're trying to spear trout. Saw black tip fin reef sharks, wobbegons,
White tips,
white tip sharks, coral trout, parrots,
turtles.
barramundi cod. Did you see a turtle?
Yeah.
Turtles.
Did you have your eyes closed?
Wobbegong sharks. So nice size wobbegong. Beautiful spot.
Did you hear Wobby?
Huh?
Did you hear Wobby?
I saw one. And overall, just a beautiful day to be out on the water at Lady Musgrave Island. Just beautiful day. Okay, over and out.
Last day today, Friday, 5th of April. We're heading home. Forecast is pretty ordinary, 15 to 20 knots. But it's coming from the east, so we'll be going with it, or sort of quartering across it to get back to 1770. We had a bit of a windy morning from about probably 4 o'clock this morning. Boat was rocking around while we were sleeping. Didn't get much sleep this morning. And we've woken up to rain. We had a rain squall about 2 hours ago, and the boat was rocking around heaps. But the wind's dropped out now, and the rain's still around, but it's not raining at the moment. It's 20 past 1 Friday afternoon. What date is that? 5th of April. And we're just leaving Lady Musgrave to head back to 1770. We got a high tide at 6:18 PM, so if we get there anywhere from 3 hours before high tide, we'll get through the bar without any problems whatsoever. So we've just had a big clean up, had some lunch, and time to say farewell. What a great week. Had an absolute awesome time. It's supposed to be blowing 15 to 20 knots, but at the moment it's more like 10. And it's an easterly, so heading home 15 to 20 knots easterly. We won't be punching into it, we'll be going with it. A little bit quartering it, so it should be we should still be able to travel at a reasonable speed, 20 knots thereabouts. We're heading home, and so far we got about a 10 knot wind, forecast 15 to 20, so maybe this is just a false sense of security. It's going to get rough, but so far so good. Let's see how we go at this speed. What are we doing, 23 knots, 22 knots? It'll take an hour and 20 minutes to get back, which is very unlikely. Well, we've now done 25 kilometres. And we got 0 white caps. We're travelling at between 17 and 23 knots, depending on whether we're climbing swells or running down the face of them. We're getting up to 26 knots. So the 15 to 20 knot forecast certainly hasn't kicked in yet. And what they say, we've done 25 kilometres out of 60. So it looks like we might be, we might have quite a good trip home. I'll just show you the conditions out there. That's looking straight into it, and there's not one white cap to be seen. White cap starting at 12 knots, so it's less than 12. I'd estimate that at 10 knots of wind. Perfect. So the people that left and went home yesterday, there was a 10 to 15 knot forecast yesterday, but the actual wind felt more like 15 to 20. They wouldn't believe that we've got better conditions coming home today when you compare the forecasts. So far so good, we've been pretty lucky. So we've just arrived back into Roundhill Creek, and I called the VMR to let them know we're about to cross the bar, and told them that I wanted to just let them know we're crossing the bar before we come in, and when we get to the boat ramp we'll log off with them. And I don't believe what I heard him say. He said to me, oh, you can log off with us now if you want. And I said, no, I'd prefer to log off after we're safely across the bar and we're at the boat ramp. And he said, oh, okay. I could not believe what he said. I'm going to write him an email tomorrow, and let them know how ridiculous that is. Telling somebody about to cross a bar on half tide that they can log off before they cross the bar. Just beyond a joke. And it's pouring rain at 1770, and we understand it's been pouring rain in Brisbane as well, but we've had great conditions out at Lady Musgrave. Well, we just got back to 1770 from Lady Musgrave. A really good trip back, about an hour and 40 minutes, including crossing the bar right up to the boat ramp. Travelled at between 17 and 26 knots all the way back. The swell was really quite a large spaced swell, not very steep, fair distance apart, so we were able to climb up one side and ski down the other side. So really quick trip back, and we had a great trip.